Welcome back to Studio F on Fast Times Willy B. We will be reviewing The Invisible Man as we prepare for Wolfman. Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
Russell.
Welcome back to Fast Times Willy B. I'm Willy B. I've got Kory with me. Kory, how we doing?
Pretty good. I mean, I've been sitting here talking to you for a minute. I just turned off my invisibility thing.
Yeah.
My
What a
suit's not as
suit,
cool as
by
this.
the way.
Yeah, it's not as cool, is it? It's just a fucking fish shirt and sweatpants and
We need
Nike
to
socks.
figure out how to make that suit.
Yeah, me and you, two guys who don't know fucking dick about nothing. We're gonna make a biopic suit or whatever the hell that is. Anyway. Good suit though, you're right.
Today, we'll be talking about The Invisible Man from 2020.
Woohoo!
Getting ready for Lee Whannell's next remake of a Universal Monster film. So, pretty excited for that one. But
Yeah. I was always looking forward to it. I was never excited, but now we're getting
excitement level's getting there. Yeah.
in there. Yeah.
But nonetheless, directed by Lee Whannell. That's
Absolutely.
The Invisible Man.
Best, man. I love him.
Yeah, I mean,
What a
he's the man.
Him and James Wan, man. Like separate paths, but always like crossing streams, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Love those two.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But we got Elizabeth Moss in our lead role in this film. We've got Oliver
Jackson.
Cohen. Yes. We've got Aldous Hodge.
Aldous
who
Hodge.
was just in a movie I watched from last year called Marmalade, and he was great in that. We'll get into how he was in this because it's much of the same.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I mean,
Storm Reed.
Storm Reed, yes. But we'll start with the good.
Yeah.
A lot of this movie isn't the good.
Pretty much all of it for me. But
I mean, Lee
Spoiler
Whannell.
alert.
Let's start with the direction. Lee Whannell's the man, dude.
he's the best. He's the best.
I'm really excited to see what he does with Wolfman. And if Wolfman ends up being pretty good, and obviously we'll talk more about this movie, but how I feel about this movie,
Trajectory wise, yeah.
I'm down to see more Universal Monster stuff from him.
See, I don't know if that's gonna happen.
I know because we have Guillermo del Toro's doing a Frankenstein.
Oh yeah, that's right. There's
So-
that, and then there's also God, we just talked about this the other day. Who's doing Creature? Somebody we know.
Oh,
Not Andy Machete or anybody like that. It's somebody we really know. God damn it. Was it James Wan?
is it one?
It might have been James Wan. Let me look it up. Let me look this up. This is actually pretty important. I feel.
Yes. Which, by the way, Creature remake, long overdue. I mean, I guess
Absolutely.
A Shape of Water is probably a subtle. I mean, it definitely pays homage to.
Yes,
Just
absolutely.
James Wan?
James Wan.
Okay.
Which now makes sense because if you think about, again, him and Lee Whannell kind of have
Yeah.
similar,
Yeah.
trajectory. Obviously, James Wan was always the director. Lee Whannell only just started directing, when he did Upgrade like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But I mean, you think about James Wan, Aquaman.
Yeah.
I mean, the horror stuff he does, he's perfect. But yes, so actually, Lee Whannell didn't actually seek this out. He kind of stumbled into this.
Oh, okay.
Like I've been listening to again a lot of interviews and stuff, trying to get a better, clear picture. Because I don't know if I've ever brought this up on here. This is one of my favorite movies ever.
Yeah.
This is a top 20, maybe top 15 movie for me.
Okay.
But we'll get into that in a second. He essentially they brought him in. They're like, "Hey, Invisible Man, do a pitch," and he wasn't even really like looking to do it. He didn't even really want to direct it, but they kind of like pushed him, like, "You should do that." And essentially, he was just like, "Oh, let's do it from the perspective of the victim, and it's kind of a horror thing." And they were like, "Interesting." And then as he left, he just kept thinking about it more and more. He was like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And he said after that, he didn't have any plans to do more Universal Monsters or anything like that. It was just kind of like whatever just feels next for him. And now him doing Wolfman, I don't know. These interviews were from 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe he changed his mind. Maybe he does want to do some more Universal Monster stuff. Let me tell you what, that guy's a nerd. He doesn't shut up in the best way possible.
Yeah.
Like he'll talk your head off all day about the ins and outs of this movie,
So
which
like
I
us.
loved. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He has this, you might find interesting. Is for The Invisible Man, he has an entire commentary on YouTube of him watching it where they have the time code and everything, so you can sync it up perfectly. Where he's talking to some other people, they ask him some questions, and they live streamed at the time, and fans were asking him questions. He answered like everything. He told you like how to do the entire fucking movie almost.
That's awesome.
Yeah, incredible guy.
Yeah, Lee Whannell's direction's amazing. I really like how this is, a modern twist, obviously, on The Invisible Man.
Not even the same story at all.
It really isn't. It really isn't. The Universal monster class we get is less of a horror film than...
Oh, yeah.
This one's, you feel the horror. You feel, the thriller in it.
Yeah.
And it was cool taking, the suits, just this leader and optics in the world fakes his death, and he has this suit that makes him invisible. You assume he did it based on the surprise, but there's always that, hanging thought. And was it the brother the whole time? You
can never get it back the first time. Because even in the trailers, whatever, you see the breath behind her and stuff like that. Really great shot we'll get into and stuff. But for me, even though I knew there had to be obviously an Invisible Man, I didn't watch the trailer or anything. First time I watched it, I genuinely was like, "Who is this all in her head and whatever?" Yeah. Which is kind of the idea, because it's all about gaslighting and abusive relationships or whatever. Yeah. The first time I watched it, even I was like, I don't know, maybe she's crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, until you get what the
knife and the.
Well, yeah, the knife, and then the first sure answer is when you get the paint bucket thrown on him from the attic.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I don't know about you, but I jumped out of my fucking seat when watching the movie.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know. I think that was in the trailer, but again, I didn't see the trailer.
Phone buzz when she's in the attic got me. Because it
oh my God.
When you hear it from when she's downstairs, it just, you're like, oh shit. But when she's in the attic and it starts going off, you're like, whoa.
And the suspense, too, of just being like, that's kind of a smart way to kind of do a callback to it's in the house kind of thing, whatever. And whenever it happens, you hear it right above her. You're like, holy shit.
And one of the things I really like with this movie is there's a lot of minor details that connect to bigger plot lines. Like I'm going to fake my death, and that's going to allow me to see where her sister goes so I can locate her. It's just this mastermind plan. And if you really catch all of the details, it just makes it that much more fun to watch.
Absolutely. I mean, they thought about every second of this. For sure, every detail, it means something. Something I heard in the movie commentary today that I'd never caught. Apparently, the background on Adrian's phone, is that his name? Adrian? Yeah.
Yeah. Adrian, yeah. You're talking about the abusive boyfriend. Yeah.
His the background on his phone and stuff basic kind of mirrors his suit and stuff like that to also help kind of apparently maybe help him stay hidden or whatever, so that way the phone can't really be seen either or something. It was something small like that, and I was like, that's something I would have never even looked at.
Yeah.
I mean, just an amazing at just keeping tension, because that's something they talked about is instead of doing the natural, we think about a Halloween movie, you might get a shot where Michael Myers is let's say he's looking out the window, where he sees Laurie and the kids come on. But for the most part, nothing's going to happen on that street. There's some light stalking or whatever, but she hangs out with friends and stuff. She goes in the car ride, smokes the joint, whatever.
Yeah.
You genuinely feel relaxed because you're fine for now.
Yeah.
The movie, especially with it being about is he in the room at all times, at no point can you actually feel completely rested.
100%.
That's an interesting way to do it. Go, and that's why every shot, it's not, sometimes it's centered, but even if it's centered, you still see it's not that blurry in the background.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I remember this is one that obviously I just rewatched it for this, and that was actually my second watch. My first watch while I was on vacation last summer, but this was one you were really pushing me to watch
for a while.
And I think you were upset that I ended up watching it on vacation with. It was voted on by my family. I think you wanted to watch it with me.
But I wasn't mad. I was like, I'm just glad you watched it.
But I remember when I watched it, you were the first person I was like, dude, that was pretty fucking good.
It's a good movie, man.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. It's not, when you hear Universal Monsters, this isn't I would even argue to say this isn't even really that.
No,
because he is a monster, but it's different. It's a different take completely.
Yeah, because it is a human at the end of the day. Yeah.
Some would say that is the worst monster of all.
That's fair.
Or whatever.
Scene that I absolutely love as far as shock factor goes, is the meeting with her sister.
The dinner.
Yes.
That dropped my jaw hard the first time I saw that. Because you don't see that coming. They
Not
don't
at all.
put that in trailers, which is good, because that one, that really catches you. They don't even tease that he's even, like, again, they tease that he's in the background a lot. In that scene, they don't tease him being around really hardly at all. Yeah. And then when the knife, picks up, you're like, what the whoa! And it ends up in her hand. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like one of the smartest written scenes for this movie.
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine thinking that up.
Yeah. Shout out to like makeup, because following Elizabeth Moss throughout this whole movie, you can see a change in her appearance throughout the entire movie. So like obviously at the beginning, obviously at the beginning you see her kind of roughed up, especially after she first escapes. But as she like gets the news that he's dead, you start to see her like come to life.
Yeah.
And then once every day that passes, it's just like worse and worse, and you can see the bags under the eyes. And you can see,
my God! Yeah,
and then when she's like in the insane asylum and all of that, it's just like they did a really good job making it look like she was going through it.
The way you can tell she's sleeping less. Absolutely. Makeup does a phenomenal job with that. And Elizabeth Moss is incredible.
Yeah, she was great. Somebody that I don't think I've seen her in anything else.
Have you ever seen Us in 2019?
She's in Us?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I've seen Us.
Yeah. She's the mom in The Other Family.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I see it.
She's incredible. She's on my short list of actors I love, but she's also a Scientologist, so that's kind of annoying, but whatever. Whatever. We all love Tom Cruise, who gives a shit. But no, the wear and tear on her is real. And like, I think that's a really good, thematically, that shines through a lot, because the whole idea is like, being in a relationship and that kind of gaslighting and that kind of, that wears on you so heavily.
Yeah.
And she's so good at doing that, like crazy, like, I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
And it breaks your heart, especially when you know that she's not.
Yeah.
But who the fuck would believe that?
Yeah, exactly.
Not only that, she has ashes of the man. And that's like another interesting, like, play on words on her. She's like, I can feel him in the room. He's in the room. Those ashes aren't him.
Yeah.
And it's wild, that movie.
Yeah. Aldous Hodge, also a shout out to him. I thought he was great in this movie.
I think he's underrated.
I do too.
I do too.
I really liked him in Marmalade, and in this movie, I think he's
Did you love him in Black Adam?
I liked him.
Yeah.
The movie, didn't love.
I love him as Hawkman. He's Hawkwoman.
Yeah, I thought he was great. That's for another day.
Yeah, I think he does do a great. He plays a very great dad.
Yeah.
As well as being like a strong, like not in the sense of like, oh, you'd beat anybody up or whatever. Like a really good man of the house kind of. Yeah. That, just good virtues, and like it's nice, the fact that she sleeps with his daughter and some nights on it, like it's great. It's a great family dynamic.
Yeah. What else?
I also think Storm Reed's great in it too.
Yeah,
like the moment where she gets slapped and she's accusing her of whatever. Like that's all phenomenal and stuff like that.
The not final scene. I
also think the brother is also great.
Yeah,
his brother, the way he's. Something I heard in that, all the stuff that I was watching, whatever, that moment where he actually shines through for the first time. Because I don't know if you know this, Lee Wannell mapped out in every single scene whether or not he was in there, whether or not he was in the room. And Adrian was not in the room, like the second time that she met the brother or whatever. And that's why he was like, to be honest with you, I was kind of relieved whenever I heard he died. And, like he was abusing me long before he abused you or whatever. Like that, he was actually becoming more honest because he didn't have to put on the show because Adrian wasn't in the room that time.
That's cool.
And I think that's like rewatching that, like that's amazing.
Yeah. This like the showdown in the house there after she escapes and she calls and she's like, you got to get home. I think Sydney's in trouble. And he gets Aldous Hodge, he gets the what's his character's name? I'm drawing a blank on
Aldous Hodges?
Yeah.
Is it Alex?
I can't remember. But
can't remember.
He's getting like the shit kicked out of him, and then
I don't even remember freaking Elizabeth Moss's character's name right now. You're right.
When she walks in though, and she like the bullet hole, like I that scene is so good.
Oh my god, yeah. The final showdown is incredible. I mean, honestly, all of the action in the movie, I don't think gets enough credit.
Yeah.
What you can do with an invisible man.
Cecilia, by the way.
Cecilia, thank you.
I could only remember C. I'm like, why'd they call her C?
Yeah, Cecilia. All the action is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Especially like that scene, the scene where he's walking down the hallway and he's taking out the asylum guards or whatever.
Yeah, that scene's insane.
They were talking about how they were using real squibs, that actually explode whenever. So that's why whenever the dude gets shot in the knee or whatever, like it really looks like it blows out his knee and stuff. I mean, it's all phenomenal. I also love the look of that suit when he goes out in the rain and the rain's like it's muddling half of the suit. And
yeah.
Oh my god!
I like the suit a lot. The special effects were great.
Mm-hmm. The special effects are, and it was done like fairly low budget too.
Yeah.
And they did pretty damn good job.
Yeah, they did. No, the suit was awesome, especially the scene where she discovers it, and like all of the cameras kind of like do their like zoom in and out and settle. Yeah, and
like, oh my god, it's like watching whenever Iron Man puts on his suit for the first time.
Yeah.
Like you get to see all the nuts and bolts going in and out, and whatever. If you want to talk some unbelievable, I'll say that till Matt because it is funny to talk about. But yeah, I think the suit is phenomenal. The sound. Let's talk about the sound. The sound is a phenomenal element to this movie, I think. The sound that suit makes, like especially whenever she pours like the paint can or whatever, it's like blah. It's very sci-fi, robotic. Dude, fucking creepy. Yeah. Benjamin Wallfish does the score, by the way. We should bring that up. He's one of the most underrated composers. I mean, not in Hollywood. If you make movies, you probably know who he is just because he's good at it. But like normal people don't know who he is, and that's bullshit. Because he's a phenomenal composer. Yeah.
No, the score was great. Just honestly a great movie.
It's just great, dude. I mean, visually, you're getting something. Story-wise, you're getting something. Audibly, you are getting something.
Yeah.
And it feels, again, Leigh Whannell was kind of going for a little more grounded, which usually is a word that I'm picky how you use it. I really am.
Yeah.
If you go and making a Batman movie and you say you're going to make it grounded, there's two ways that can go. That can really irritate me, or it can, you use it the right way. He uses it perfectly in this movie.
Yeah.
In a way that it's the characters that make it feel grounded.
Yeah.
It feels so real.
Yeah, it does. It feels like a situation that you could know a person that's experiencing this type of abusive relationship.
It's awful. It's awful. It's sad.
It is.
It's very sad. But very therapeutic by the end, too.
Yeah. Yeah, the ending you get. I like the surprise.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it like clicks in her head.
I love that. Listening to the commentary that they were talking about that scene. She was hoping to get him his confession, but at no point does she ever really think she was gonna get it. She kind of knew what she was probably gonna end up doing, but especially in that moment, his way of saying it without saying, and his voice, like, again, like if I'm honest. I didn't watch the movie I didn't really have time. I was going through a bit of a dog going to the ER almost situation, so I ended up not rewatching it. But I can still remember how he says surprise perfectly in my ears. I haven't seen the movie in like a year and a half. Perfectly. I can hear his voice. There's something... So, and they talk about this. Leigh Whannell wanted to get Oliver Jackson Cohen because he's a very... Not because he's like, you see like, oh, he's a sinister man or whatever. Yeah. He's very charismatic and he's very charming or whatever. The way he says surprise, it's charming.
It's almost Ghostfacey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like, to me, it sounds like he wants to get you in bed, but you should say no.
Like Sydney. Instead of,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's phenomenal. I mean, casting is great. There's just so much to love about that movie.
Yeah. Very, very good movie. Anything else for you in the good that really sticks out? I'm sure you got a lot. Yeah.
The title, whenever they do the Invisible Man and it's the water.
With the water splashing up?
They talked about it a lot in the commentary, which kind of annoyed me because I wanted to be the guy that's like, am I the only person talking about this? I have always loved that title coming up. Just the splash of water and it appears and it gets swept away by it's phenomenal. I think genuinely the opening scene to this movie. Usually I hate when movies release like the first 10 minutes or whatever. I don't know if they did that for The Invisible Man, but if they didn't, they should have. Because the first 10 minutes with her escape from the house, instead of dropping you in at like an argument or a moment where he like beats her or, you know, something awful, just starting you at the point where she is enacting this plan. Every little thing she does to get out of there, setting the alarms, whatever, going back for the dog, every single thing you do, it's so planned in a way that they don't have to explain to you that she's been in this for a while and she wants to get out. You just know all the things that she did. She had to have known a long time how she was going to do it.
Yeah.
And that's like such a genius way to open the movie.
Yeah. And then him coming and punching the window out.
Oh my God. And which is funny because, again, you know, what the whole movie is about, that, you know, the abusive thing and whatever. And there are moments where he seems, and again, this word casting is so good, he seems so genuine sometimes that you kind of start to forget. And then you think about it, you went, no, he definitely, like whenever you're questioning whether or not it was the brother that was, and you're like, oh, maybe she is going to forgive him and whatever. For a second, you forget, and then you think back, you're like, he punched the fucking window when she was trying to get away.
Yeah.
That's not normal behavior.
Exactly.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I think the opening credits is the opening scene is phenomenal.
I agree.
And tense. And they already start doing some of the like the hallway shots and things like that to kind of get you primed up for, you know, the spooky man in the background kind of thing.
Dog's underrated.
Dog is underrated.
Dog helps out in the one scene where she catches the suit and she's trying to get out. Yeah.
Yeah. This is something that I'll admit I wouldn't have brought up if it wasn't for watching the commentary thing. But there is a great moment whenever they do the suit reveal, whatever. I should have just said it because it was on the same breath. The score, they wanted to make it feel like a Universal monster, you know, with the, you know, da-da-da, da-da-da. You kind of get like a sci-fi modern update of like what a Universal monster would sound like whenever they unveil that. It's a big moment when they unveil that suit. Also, we should mention that like that's also there's a lot of people who are afraid of that kind of thing. I forget what the name. I should have looked it up. There's a phobia of like a lot of holes on that thing or whatever. Like I think that brought.
I always see it with like the hands that have the holes in it.
Yeah, that's what freaks me out. It always looks like a bunch of hands and shit like that, or eyeballs. Sorry.
Yeah.
That kind of, it's creepy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously, it's tense. Whatever. There's also some moments of levity that feel pretty good. Like whenever. What the fuck am I doing? Whenever Elizabeth Moss gets the envelope of like college fund or whatever and gives it to Storm Reed's character, like that's a very heartwarming moment. Even though murder isn't cool, but whenever she does get, you know, she puts on the suit and basically does to him what he did to her sister, or whatever, like that. And then she comes out and she has a conversation with Aldous Hodge or whatever about letting go of the past or whatever. Like that, you feel good.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't go with ominous like the end of Halloween where it's like he's still out there and he's going to get you. You know, it's a nice ending in a fucked up way.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, you said it. It's a nice ending. You kind of feel scummy for thinking that, but like you feel like she got her just due. Like she was put through a lot in this movie.
And not to mention, if you think about it, I'm not one to say one person who does this deserves that. There are people who decide that for us. I don't want to be that person. He killed a decent amount of people in that movie.
He killed a lot of guards. He killed her sister. He put her in an insane asylum.
Yeah. He tried to kill
framing her
and the daughter.
Yeah, framing her for her sister's murder. Like,
I think it's pretty deserved. I would say probably pretty deserved.
Yeah. And it's just, it as far as a movie goes, it's just like you said, it's just a good ending.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
and using his own powers against him, too. Like,
not only that, but they also do a callback to, like, you know, whenever you see the footprint and she looks down, she's like, oh, shit. And that's whenever the dog helps with the claws or whatever. They kind of do that. They flip that whenever she sits back in the seat wearing the suit. And then, you know, that I think that's... so incredible stuff there. There's just so much love. The cinematography is great. Yeah. I would say. I think it's great cinematography.
The rain scene is one of my favorite scenes.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Because it leads into then obviously the showdown in the house, but just that whole escape, the going through the guards, into the rain, into the house, like just that like 3 set span is like really good movie making.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, talking about the rain, this reminded me. The scene where she's in the shower. and she has the pen or whatever and stabs him. Like, that's all great and tense and whatever. And, you know, it's never said, but she already knows, like, what she has to do to get out of the situation.
Yeah.
Which is also, like, really leans heavily into, like, what the movie's trying to tell us or whatever. And also, I just want to give a shout out to the scene where they, you know, end up saving Adrian from, you know, being locked in that cellar or whatever, the basement dungeon, whatever.
Yeah. In
that scene, they do a pretty good job of making you, like, first time I watched it, I was like, wait, is he, like, I believed for it. I was like, what? And as I thought about it, I'm like, no, this is bullshit. This is bullshit. But for a second, you kind of believe it.
Yeah.
And I think that scene's shot great and whatever. They actually thought about putting that at the beginning of the movie, actually, which they obviously threw out decently early. They thought this would have been kind of cool. They thought about also doing a version of that scene where they know who he is and what he did and whatever, and they're skeptical that he still is the Invisible Man or whatever. So they were going to go in with like thermal binoculars or whatever to kind of see if he was hiding or whatever, which also would have been interesting. But all in all, I'm rambling a lot. This is one of my favorite movies.
You're good.
I just think it's fucking phenomenal. Yeah. I think this is a great, great, great movie.
For sure. So we'll hop over to the mat. I'm sure you don't have anything in the mat or bad. Yeah, I don't have anything in the bad. Oh, you do?
I have anything in the mat.
Okay.
Which is the paint scene. Whenever she dumps the paint and hits him or whatever. This is the thing I was talking about earlier. I was like, it's kind of goofy and kind of funny. I'll bring it up. The fact that he washes off the paint in like the sink in like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Pretty fucking unbelievable, but...
That's fair.
It downplays the scene. The scene's still great, so...
Oh, yeah. There's a couple nitpicks in that type of area, too. Like the scene where she cuts her wrist and she's being dragged to the hospital. There's no blood trail.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So, like, just little things like that, but, like, it's nothing that kills the movie for me. Like you said, it's like the paint being, washed off in 5 minutes. Is it realistic? Probably not, but... It's a hell of a scene, so you can kind of look past it,
I mean, that's how movies are. It's kind of like the same thing with, like, when a guy approaches you or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like the rule of, like, if you like the guy, it's not creepy.
Yeah.
It's the Dahmer-Dobler theory.
Yeah.
If you like him, Dobler.
Yeah.
If you don't like that, if you're not interested in that guy, Dahmer.
Yeah. I guess my only is the scene where... he decks Sydney, and I do agree, Sydney there acting fantastic, but why was she so quick to blame C when C was like, I mean, you could kind of see when somebody decks the shit out of you.
Yeah. I mean,
which I guess, like, you're in a room with one person, but, like...
That's what I was going to say, is the justification is, like...
Who else would it be?
She goes, no, Sydney, there's an invisible man in the room. Yeah, probably more unrealistic than I punched you and you didn't realize it was me.
Yeah.
I guess. But yeah, it is kind of awkward because she gets hit and she's like... She's immediately
like, Dad, she hit me! And I'm like...
Like, that quickly? You don't want to, like, assess the situation for a second?
Which I guess she's, 17, probably 18 if she's talking about college. So.
Yeah, I think she's 7.
It's probably quick to panic, but
for sure.
There's just something every time I watch it, I'm like, damn, like...
If that happened to me, I'd be
you guys are about to have a girls.
You do that?
You guys are about to have a girls' night. Now, why in the hell would she just deck you? Like,
that's a good question. She just gave you a bunch of money for college.
Yeah. But
good. Yes, very valid point. Valid point.
But I have nothing on the bad. So we'll hop over to our final thoughts and ratings. What do you want to leave off with The Invisible Man? We obviously know how you feel about it. And what do you give it out of 10?
That's you saying, don't fucking do what I think you're going to do.
No, I'm saying, like...
I'm just kidding.
We both do really enjoy this movie, but I know you love it.
I love this movie. First time I watched it, I was like, this is one of the greatest things I've seen ever.
Yeah.
Second time I watched it, I didn't give it a whole lot of space, and I was, I still loved it, but it still wasn't the same.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen this movie. The more I talk about it, the more I learn about the behind the scenes or whatever, I cannot find a reason to give it a 9 out of 10 anymore. Mm-hmm. So therefore, I'm going to give it a perfect 10.
Okay.
I think it's a 10.
Okay. I mean, if it's in your, what, you said top 20, top 25.
Yeah.
I'd imagine it's a 10.
I mean, I'm always trying to... I'm trying not to get too zealous sometimes, but it's a phenomenal. It's one of my favorites.
Because I think, like, right now, I think I have, like, 71 5 out of 5s on Letterboxd. But I was like, that's so many 5 out of 5s. I'm like, if you think about it, it's my top 8%. Like, it's not even my top 10% right now. Because I think I have, like, over 900 movies logged on there.
Oh, sure. I mean, yeah,
so,
that makes sense. Yeah,
I, mean, I think it's fair to give your top 10% the best scores. But
for sure.
For me, this is a 9 out of 10. There were, the first time I watched it, I was honestly more of an 8. I think the second time watching it, I caught a little more of the details, and
well, that's interesting.
I upped my score a little bit. So
I wonder if, and also the other thing too is I don't know if you're different, but like I tend to have, depending on the movie, I have a better watch experience with people. Depending on the movie, I have a better experience by myself.
That's fair.
When I watched Invisible Man for the first time, I meant to bring this up earlier. I watched it while I was at a job where I just sat in a dark trailer from 5 p.m. till 5 a.m. out in nowhere.
Yeah.
And I watched.
That probably was spooky as shit to watch.
That's what I'm saying. That's the perfect. I mean, unfortunately, I watched it on a fucking phone.
Yeah.
But like everything else around it, the environment, dude, it's creepy out there. If you don't have music or something, it gets creepy as hell. And that's why whenever she dumped the paint, I was like, fuck, AirPods everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. My first watch was with my family, but the second watch was by myself. And
better watch experience alone.
It was nighttime, watched by myself. It was snowing outside, not raining, but snowing. Like there was heavy precipitation.
Yeah. Environment makes a difference in a movie, man.
Yeah.
It really does.
No, it was a really good watch though, and just a great movie. I'm very excited to see what Liam Wannell does with.
I'm looking forward to it.
Wolfman.
I'm very much looking forward to it.
So we'll see. I'm excited to see Christopher Abbott too, because Christopher Abbott. Something like I said,
Christopher Rabbit. I was like, what the?
I'm excited to see Christopher Abbott as well. I know I was really excited when Ryan Gosling was attached to this. So I was a little bummed when that switch happened. But seeing what Abbott's done the past couple of years, I'm really excited to see.
Especially when I watch the trailers now. And it's not that I don't think Gosling couldn't do it or even do it better, but I'm at the point where like from what he's pulling off in that trailer, I'm like, I can't imagine what that would look like if it was Gosling.
I think Abbott is almost a better look for it.
Yeah, I would say like just something about his blank face.
Yeah,
and whenever his eyes are red and I agree.
Yeah, but I'm excited for it. And if it's good, I'm gonna start the trend on Twitter. # give me more Universal Monsters Lee Wannell. Long ass hashtag.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But no, I'm excited.
Can't be as bad as # sell the Snyderverse to Netflix.
That's fair. And that actually trended. But
still fucking trending.
But yeah, very excited for it. That'll do it for The Invisible Man. Kory, thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
Thank you all for watching. If you like what you're watching, check out some of the other videos. Hit the subscribe button or follow the social links down below. Stay tuned because Kory will be back for couple of the Wolfman movies before we go see the newest installment of Wolfman movies. And we will talk to you all soon. Peace.